Steve, when you watched the film, what stood out to you most, and how concerned are you about the defensive rebounding?
I mean, I thought we did a lot more good things than bad things. I think that we got off to good starts in both the first quarter and the third quarter. We had stretches of very good inside-out play on offense, and our half-court defense was a lot better than I thought it would be. The defensive rebounding, like you said, was a big problem. And then the other thing was obviously the fouling, which is, really just a lack of discipline. So those were two things that, we talked a lot about today. We watched a lot of film, and, we did a lot of offense here actually in practice. So hopefully those are things that we can do better with tomorrow.
Paul Casanova.
Yeah, good evening, Coach. Over the last 2 weeks, we've heard player after player give us the admiration for you and tell us that it could be one of the reasons they either came here or stayed here was because of you. What's that mean to you, and how important is that?
It means they want playing time and shots. That's what it means. They want you to tell me who it was, and then that's it. No, I mean, I think that the way coaching is today, I think it's basically it's like this. I think that players in the NBA have to like playing for the head coach most days. I also think if they like playing for you every day, then it's not going to work out either. That's my basic feel on the whole thing.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Coach, how good of a defender do you think Markelle can become, and what do you think it's going to take for him to get there?
Oh, I mean, he has the size, quickness, intelligence, and instincts, obviously, to be a terrific defender. And I think his defense has improved a lot already. The other part of it is, I think his pick and roll defense last night, I was really pleased with. And his defense, his team defense, even by the end of last year, was very good. And we just did I said we did a lot of offense, but we just did a defensive segment at the end where I thought he was, the best guy in terms of seeing things, talking to his teammates, and helping organize the other four guys on the floor. So, obviously he's got the physical tools. He's very bright, and he's working hard at it.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
We saw Evan slip a little bit last night and maybe kind of tweak his ankle. Just wondering how everybody's doing health-wise tonight after the first game.
Yeah, he was fine. Everybody did everything today. T. Ross, actually, we didn't do contact, and T. Ross was able to jump in and do stuff, which was great. It was great to have him. James was not allowed to do the stuff today, but he was doing he was doing the bike, and he said he feels a lot better. So, but everybody else was fine.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, you'd mentioned last night the strong offensive rating in games where Aaron Gordon has 6+ assists. It happened 9 times last year, and high rating in that time that trailed only the Mavericks at that pace. In those situations when he's playing, are they coming where he's creating assists? Is they coming in because of pace, because of his decision making, or what elements go into him playing that way?
Well, I think I don't have a breakdown. It's a great question. I don't have a breakdown, but if I had to guess, I mean, I can't tell you 100%, but if I had to guess, I would say this. First of all, transition, where he not only, can attack a seam and getting into the paint and make the plays, to different players on the floor, but he's also willing to just advance the ball up the court. We had two layups last night in transition where he got it and just touched the ball up the court. Evan had a good drive, and I think And then, well, you know what? The other one, we didn't score, but we got a wide open shot that we missed. The other part of it is, I think, it's his passing out of the post, where when he has the ball, you know, guys know if they'll cut and get open, you know, he'll find them. So I think those are two of the biggest areas.
Back to Josh Robbins.
You touched on this at times last year when you were asked about it, but how valuable is it to see players on your bench cheering for guys on the court, particularly when they're cheering for rookies such as Chuma in this case, in terms of team morale, team spirit?
For me, it's a big deal. I mean, they know this. I don't talk to them a lot about it, but I do, and they know this. I always watch the bench when I watch the film, and when guys aren't supportive of each other, I do show that to them in practice, because no matter what, I think that it talks a lot about your basketball character. You know, I know this is the NBA, but the best teams I've been around, guys cheer for each other. You know, if you care about the team, then you cheer for each other. And, you know, people talk about chemistry, and chemistry isn't so much to me how much they go to dinner together or how much they get along. Chemistry is more determined by how many guys on your roster put the team above themselves and above their individual stats on a daily basis. And so I think by watching that stuff, you know, you can see which guys are team first.
Okay, we have time for a couple more for Coach. We'll go back to Dan Savage.
Cliff, you know, speaking of chemistry, the one new face in that starting lineup last night was Bacon. In addition to just his shot making, you know, how did you feel he meshed in with everybody else on the court?
Well, he's easy to play with. I mean, he number one is obviously he can get in the paint. He was like that when he was young too, and he can score. I mean, he has a scoring mentality, but he makes the right play. I mean, he'll move the ball to open teammates freely without hesitation. He's always been good in that way. I was more happy last night with his defense. His team defense was very good. He had some individual sequences where he was very good. And, you know, I told you guys before, I mean, we had a situation in Charlotte his rookie year where I think it was 10 or 12 games maybe to start the year. Nick Batum was hurt, and I wanted to bring Jeremy Lamb off the bench. So Dwayne started. He didn't play huge minutes, but he started. And we had him guarding, you know, starters and sometimes primary scorers. And he was very solid defensively even at that stage.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
Steve, what can you tell us about the progress that Mo's been making? Did he travel with you guys to Atlanta?
I'm sorry, Roy. I didn't hear what you said.
Can you provide an update on Mo's progress? And did he travel with you guys to Atlanta?
No, he didn't travel because this way he can continue to do at least individual workouts. You know, I mean, we're hopeful here that in the this next, I don't know. Again, we don't have a definitive timetable of when he'll be cleared to, you know, take that next step. I mean, you know, when he does, I mean, we have a good plan. I've sat down with Lindsay and, he'll be able to start doing contact, and then that would lead probably to some, 3-on-3, and then eventually to some 5-on-5. But again, there's no timetable for when that'll occur.
Did you have a follow-up?
Yes, please. Thank you. So how has he looked to you in terms of his skill work, Steve?
Excuse me?
How has he looked to you in terms of his skill work from what you've seen so far?
I mean, he looks, he looks good. I mean, Roy, he can't, he's not able to do much. I don't know what you want me to say. It's, he's limited in what he can do. you know, he's doing now, I mean, kind of like what these guys were doing 3 weeks ago. So, you know, they're one-on-one workouts, you know, shooting and stuff like that. And I feel like he's made good progress in those areas. But, I mean, it's, you know, again, I mean, this is, again, you know, again, we have no timetable, and he's, through no fault of his own, I mean, he's far behind these other guys. That's just the reality of where we're at. I mean, he hasn't played since March. So, I don't know. We'll see how he looks. But, again, we don't have a timetable. And, you know, I mean, his individual workout looked fine.
Okay, last question for Coach. Josh Robbins, you still have a question?
No, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, then we're good. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.